ESPN's presentation of the Tire Kingdom Gatornationals, brought to you by Brita. Make the water we drink taste a little more perfect. And Gillette Fusion Pro Glide turns shaving into gliding and skeptics into believers.
Back at Gainesville at the Gatornationals, Doug Foley was to have lane choice over Tony Schumacher, the U.S. Army car. But look here, before the car was even started, the parachutes come out. Unfortunately, Tony Schumacher will single his way into the semifinals. Doug Foley very disappointed.
Man, that's got to be a heartbreaker.
Oh, man, that is a tough break because he had lane choice, ran very well in the first round, and Tony Schumacher in that U.S. Army car is going to get a single. Boy.
Schumacher catches a break there. I think that would have been one great matchup.
Yeah, based on the numbers we saw in the first round, track conditions still look pretty good based on what we saw in that first pair of cars going down the track. I think Doug Foley, if he couldn't have won it, he would at least give him a very good race. Look
at those skies. Nice and cool. Wins by lane, top fuel. I'm going for the left.
I'm going for the right in this round.
Yeah, that worked out earlier for you, too.
I think right lane will win this round.
Well, he's not going to go easy, and you see he doesn't. He runs a 383. That's important because it may give him lane choice when he goes into the semifinals.
Watch Doug Foley on the bottom of your screen. You see the chutes just deploy his tough break. They got the some safety devices on these things now that help deploy the parachutes. And I don't know if that's what happened in that particular incident.
Just a reminder for you of our coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series, Thunder Valley, Bristol, Tennessee. We're going to be there later this year as well. Well, we welcome you back as we continue our coverage, and we got a little extra commentator in here for you. He knows a little something about drag racing. None other than the man who is the honorary starter and got us going today, Big Daddy Don Garlits. It's good to see you, Big.
You bet. Thank you, Paul. Thank you much. Mike, how are you?
Good to see you as always. Did you ever have a parachute come out on you before a run?
That exact same thing happened to me at Columbus, only it happened out on the burnout, and I just went to get the reverser, and it just brushed the parachute release. We have them real sensitive in those cars so that when you touch it, it comes out. Well, I just barely touched it, reaching for the reverser, and knocked the chutes out. Of course, I didn't know that, and then I backed right over them. It was all over.
That was the end of it, huh?
Yeah.
Well, with top fuel, here comes Del Worsham up. He will go against Antron Brown.
Boy, Antron's really struggling with that car this weekend.
I'll tell you what. That one obviously goes to Worsham, a 386, 320 miles an hour.
I tell you, Antron did his job on the starting line, but that team's really struggled getting that car down the racetrack this weekend, Don.
Yeah, you know, you have good days and bad days, and you know what else can you say? There's nothing better than Antron for getting them down there. But you know, if the clutch comes in too quick, there's nothing the driver can do about it.
Yeah, your hard Movic's camera here shooting about 2,000 frames per second. You see it just kind of rattled the tires and drove up. It looked like it's about the point where they tried to apply the clutch and bring the power back in, and the track just didn't hold.
Boy, look how the engine goes rich the moment that the tires get loose and there's no load against the flywheel, and it's just everything goes crazy.
Yeah, and the wheel speed, they're trying to get about 2,000 RPM in about a half a second.
Yeah.
Our next pair is going to be Steve Torrence and Larry Dixon. But let's go to Dave Reef with a Lincoln Tech Fix-It Pit Report.
Well, first off, Doug, do you know what happened to make the chutes come out?
I really don't. We had a malfunction earlier in qualifying. You know, this is a team that really spent the winter really rebuilding these cars, making them perfect. We had that malfunction, replaced everything on the car, and then never had the issue again in qualifying. So we felt like we had found it somewhere in that harness. But apparently we didn't. You know, for a team to go out there and run fastest in the session in the first round, it shows a lot about what this dirt racing team's about.
How do you fix it from here quickly?
Well, we need to go back. We need to do a little testing. We need to go through the entire car. We obviously have a gremlin somewhere.
Was looking like it was going to be that kind of day for him. He was a top half qualifier, had lane choice against Schumacher, but a very disappointing way to step him out of the Gatornationals.
Well, with Larry Dixon up here and Steve Torrence, Torrence is 0-6. racing the Top Fuel champion, Larry Dixon.
You know, Larry Dixon's second-generation driver. His dad was around for a number of years. I'm sure you raced him, his dad, a few times in your day, didn't you, Don?
I sure did. He was a great guy. And I did one of my first TV commentators the day he won the race at Pomona. And Larry's son rode back in the car with him down the return road. Just a little baby, you know.
Yeah, we got pictures of him in the winner's circle, and he may be getting to another winner's circle today as he does a nice job getting around Steve Torrance. 386 at 314 miles per hour will advance him into the semifinals.
Yeah, Schumacher, Dixon semifinals, and we're talking Dixon being 8-3.
Take another look at the run. You saw Torrance spin the tires. Did a nice job pedaling that car, didn't he, Don, to get to recover?
Excellent recovery there. Just a little puff. That's so hard to do. We're talking milliseconds now.
Yep, but unfortunately for Steve, Larry Dixon was not spinning the tires, and he just pulled away at that point.
But looking ahead to the semifinals, Dixon and Schumacher. Dixon 8-3 last season against him. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, that Alan Nobby race team's good. And Larry Dixon, you know, and the one thing I know you like about him too, Don, that I love is he's just a historian of this race. He knows it all the way back to the day. And I can remember, you know, I don't know if I ever told you, my very first drag race that I can remember was the '63 Winter Nationals. I was sitting in the grandstand, and the reason I can remember that race was because you had the car with the wing on top of the engine. It was the only one out there with it.
Yeah, I remember that well. When in the final, I looked out there, and Art Malone was about a car length ahead of me, and I had this heavy smoke. And I said, boy, wing, go to work. And sure enough, it did right up, shot right out in front of him.
Well, take a look at what is on the line. We're talking funny car when we come back.
My drag racing hero is the Michael Jordan of our sport. My #1 hero is Big Daddy Don Garlits. I mean, he's right from Florida. I mean, I'm an East Coast boy from New Jersey, but he's pioneered the sport. And the one thing I love about him most is that he's humble, but he's very determined, and he's very eager to win. He hated losing, but he always kept it inside. And he always put God first in his life, and he's been the pioneer of drag racing.
And is right. Big Daddy is a legend. The legend is in the booth with us. The Lucas Oil Funny Car Ladder. Matt Hagan, Jeff Arend, and on the line now, Johnny Gray and Cruz Pedregon.
Other side, a great matchup is going to be between Jack Beckman, Robert Height. Robert, by 1/100 of a second, will have lane choice. And then Mike Neff will have lane choice over Bob Tasca.
And Big Daddy Don Garlits in the booth with us. Good to have you here. Johnny Gray makes the move over to Funny Car.
Now, the previous run, both of these drivers had to pedal the car to get around to get this win. And Cruz just blipped the throttle, went a 416 on that run when it just rattled the tire. And a lot of times, Big, you know, when it rattles the tire, it gives you a little bit of an indication to be able to catch that a little quicker, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you can feel that and just come back just a hair. Sometimes it's just you don't even come all the way back and wait. You just do like that real quick on the throttle, and it'll straighten it out. And Cruz is really good at it.
Yeah, he does a great job. And this time, I'm sure he didn't have to pedal it. He drilled that thing to a 407 at 311 miles per hour. That was a nice pass.
It sure is.
We take another look at the launch here. You're going to see, I mean, Cruz and Pedregon had a big advantage off starting. He's a little bit deep, so he's fudging the numbers. But all that means is that he probably would have had even a better elapsed time. He probably gave up maybe 1 or 2 hundredths. Wasn't in extremely deep to where he put out the top light, but that's just a great pass out of that snap-on funny car.
Well, the Army Racing team, Tony Schumacher, already hard at work getting ready for their semifinal matchup against Larry Dixon. Giant crowd here today. Looking forward to that. Look at that. Oh, that's cool. The grandstand name for Big Daddy Don Garlits. You get your own grandstand? Can you put anybody in there you want?
I was totally overwhelmed. I didn't know they did that.
And there's a reason right there. Look at the record.
And the key there is the winning percentage. You didn't run as many races as a lot of the new guys because there wasn't as many back there, but you had a 30%, just under 30% winning record, which is amazing.
Yeah, if we didn't have as many races as they got today, that's true.
Well, let's have the stat guy give you a little love.
Let's take you back to the first Gator Nationals in 1970. Don Garlits was #1 qualifier at 6:55. That would have put you 15th in this year's Pro Stock car field. Remember that? In the day was a front-engine top-fuel dragster.
Times they are a-changing. Here is Jeff Arendt and Matt Hagan.
It'll be interesting to see what Matt Hagan and Tommy DeLago's crew chief has done a fantastic job, especially towards the end of last season and coming into this race. Whoa.
Well, they both find trouble. Hagan finds the throttle again quickly. 4:44 is the win light for Matt Hagan.
Nice reaction time from Matt.
Yeah, he had the advantage off the starting line and got a little bit of a break. Looks like he had to pedal a little ways down track, though, Don.
Yes, yes, he did.
Yeah, Jeff Arendt spun the tires early. Matt Hagan, and as a driver, you're feeling, oh, that's hooked up, we're okay, we're far enough down track, and then all of a sudden you feel like, whoop, and it's hard to get the car to recover when it smokes the tires down track too, isn't it?
Then when you see what it does, puts out a cylinder when he comes back on it. So, it's a lot of times they blow up when they do that.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Sometimes it's a good thing the cylinder goes out because it takes away some power to help it recover. But like you said, sometimes it just wads up that manifold with fuel and stuff that's not happy and blows her up.
It raises the manifold pressure, too, when the cylinder goes out, dramatically. And you're really tuned for a different mixture. Now, all of a sudden, you got all this blower pressure, and you have a problem.
When you talk raising the cylinder pressure a lot, dramatically, as you said, what are we really talking? Is there a number there?
Yeah, you could go real quickly 4 or 5 pounds more blower pressure, and you're just not, you can't run safe enough for that, because otherwise the car wouldn't run good.
Tonight, ESPN Films presents the Fab Five. Michigan's Fab Five not only electrified the game, they also brought a new style to the masses. The Fab Five, presented by Super Street Fighter 4 in 3D edition tonight. ESPN, 9 o'clock.